guys, welcome back to Miscellaneous March. Today we're going to be doing yoga with blocks. So you will need 2 blocks for this practice. So I'm going to place one of my blocks vertically in the middle of my mat and the other block horizontally on my mat, just about 6 inches apart from one another. Then I'm going to have a seat and I want to lay back so that I lay my head right on top of the vertical block. So my head is resting on that vertical block. And then I want you to bring your legs into butterfly pose. So this should feel very comfortable. If it's not, please adjust your blocks. You might need to bring the horizontal block up a little bit so it's higher up on your back. You might need to bring the vertical block up a bit so that the very bottom of your hairline is resting on it. And then just let your shoulders fall open. Let your knees fall open, your hips fall open. Hands can be down by your side. Close your eyes for a moment. Let's take a deep breath in. And exhale completely. One more deep breath in. Empty it out. Last one, deep breath in. And completely empty out your exhale. Perfect. Bring feet to the mat. You can grab the back of your thighs to pull you up. You're going to remove the vertical block and just put it to the side for now. We're going to lay back, bringing the other block right underneath your tailbone or your sacrum. Feet flat on the mat. Right leg comes up. Cross it over. Lift up that left leg parallel with the sky. And just let the legs fall closer to your chest. Feet are flexed. Take a breath. And lower down. Let's take it to the other side. Left leg crosses over, figure 4. Right leg comes up parallel with the sky. And then just bring the legs in, closer to your chest. Take a breath. And begin to lower it down. Go ahead and lift your hips up, remove that block. And we're going to come up to a seated position. So, you can either turn to one side and help yourself up, or come into a little ball, placing your hands on your shins, nose towards your knees, and just rock and roll. Just do it a couple times. And we're going to place both blocks probably about 6 inches apart. We're going to come into a tabletop. And we're going to place elbows on both blocks. Begin to walk your knees out. And you can bring the hands behind your neck in a prayer position. Slowly allowing forehead to come towards the mat to open up that upper back and open up those shoulders. Take a deep breath. One more deep breath. And begin to walk the knees up gently, bringing the prayer hands down, and we're going to come to a seated position. So I'm going to face you, placing the block sideways, so it's not vertical, it's not flat horizontally. We're putting it this way. It's kind of hard to decipher which way the block is going, right? We're going to come into a yogic squat, so standing over that block. Small turnout in both feet, tucking the tailbone under, hands come to your heart. We're going to slowly begin to lower until you're seated right on your block. And you can use those elbows to push out on those legs, just opening up those hips. Kind of look like a frog. Take a deep breath. One more deep breath. And use your fingertips. Help you rise. Grab that block. Place it in the front of your mat. Coming to the front of your mat, we're going to come into a forward fold. So, you might need to double up on your blocks here, like so. Coming into a forward fold, allowing your head to come on top of the blocks. You might need to adjust them. You can have a bend in your knees. And let your head and arms hang heavy. Take a few breaths. Removing one of the blocks. We're going to bring belly to thighs and interlace the hands behind your head. See if you can touch your head to the block. Letting those arms fall open to the sky. Slowly release the arms. Fingertips to the mat. We're going to slowly begin to rise up. Arms overhead. Hands to heart. Arms overhead, breathe in. Exhale, dive it down. Halfway lift. Flat back. And forward fold. Both hands come to the mat. We're going to come back to a plank. Come down to your knees. We're going to place both blocks in front of us, flat. Hands come on top of the blocks, and we're going to come right into a downward dog. Just a regular downward dog, except you're up on blocks. So the same rules apply. Tailbone towards the sky. And take a few breaths. We're going to take a deep breath in and bring your right leg up, three-legged dog. Exhale, bring that knee in towards your chest and step it up in the middle of the blocks. Lower down on the back leg. And slowly coming into a runner's lunge. You can bring those blocks back if you need. Take a breath. Staying up nice and high. And roll through the front. Bring both blocks on the inside of that foot and begin to heel toe that foot out wide. Again, both blocks flat. Coming down to your forearms on top of those blocks and begin to roll open on that right foot. So that opens up your hip. Coming into a lizard pose. Take a few breaths. And rolling that foot back, flat on the mat. Walking up. Scoot one of the blocks back. And we're going to heel toe that foot across our mat. And we're going to come into a pigeon, sitting up on the block. So bringing that block right under your butt cheek. And front knee is bent, back leg is straight, just like a normal pigeon pose. Slowly begin to walk the forearms out, or you can come all the way down, melting your chest to the mat, bringing your forehead to the mat. Take a deep breath. One more breath. And slowly begin to walk it back up. Go ahead and move the block to the side. Curl the back toes under. Coming into a plank. Drop down on your knees. Bringing both blocks about 6 inches apart. We're going to come into a chaturanga. So placing your hands right in front of those blocks, coming into your plank, breathing in, come forward on your tippy toes, exhale, lower down. So now your shoulders are right on top of those blocks. I want you to hold it for 3 breaths. And really utilize your arms so that you're not putting so much pressure on your shoulders. And slowly lift up into your upward facing dog. Keeping my toes curled. I usually have them flat, but it's a great way to stretch through those toes and those feet. Bring your knees down to the mat. Flip those blocks flat again. We're going to come right back to downward dog. Curl those toes, place those hands flat on the blocks, lifting the hips, pedal those feet, tailbone towards the sky. On your next breath in, left leg comes high, 3-legged dog. So much harder to do a 3-legged dog like this. Exhale, bring it through the center, lifting that knee up towards your chest, and step your foot in between the blocks. Mine were a little too close together. Drop that back knee down, sinking into that front hip. Coming right back into our runner's lunge. Again, you might need to slide those blocks back. Staying up nice and high, foot is flexed. Take a deep breath. And exhale, coming back forward. Bringing both blocks on the inside of the left foot and heel toe that foot out so it's slightly off the mat. Bringing both blocks in front of you. We're going to come down to our forearms on the blocks and roll open on that left outside of the foot. Take a few breaths. And slowly bring that foot back flat on the mat. Rise up. Move those blocks out of the way for a moment. And we're going to heel toe that foot across until that knee comes right in front. We're going to place a block under our butt cheek and slide that back leg back. Move one of the blocks out of the way. And you can either come down to your forearms in pigeon or melt your chest towards the mat and take a few breaths. Slowly begin to walk it back up. Move that block out of the way. Both the hands come to the mat, curl the back toes under, come into a plank. Chaturanga. Take a deep breath in. Come forward or drop your knees down. Exhale. See if you can rest your head on the block in front. And lower all the way down to your belly. Now, we're going to do bow pose, but I want to see if you guys can lift up your chest a little more. So, bringing the block right underneath our chest. So kind of like resting your boobs on it, I guess. Hips are flat on the mat. I'm going to lift my right leg and bring it in towards the glute. So I'm up on my chest, on the block, stretching my right leg. Take a breath. Lower it down, lifting the left leg. Grab the heel first if you can't get the top of your foot, and then stretch it in. Take a breath. Lower it down. And keeping the integrity of that chest, go ahead and push those hips into the mat. Grab both feet. We're going to take a deep breath in. Lift that belly button towards the spine. Exhale, lift. Kick those feet up towards the sky. And lower it down. Hands come under our shoulders, curl your toes under. Come into a regular downward dog. Pedal the feet. Take a breath. Step the feet up towards the front of the mat. And keep those blocks nearby because we're going to use them for some balance poses. Coming into a forward fold. You can sway it out here. And slowly begin to rise. Small bend in your knees. One vertebrae at a time. Breathe in. Exhale. Hands to heart. We're going to bring one block right under us, and we're going to balance on that block. So, standing on that block, hands to heart, find your focus, and see if you can just come into your tree pose and balance. Maybe you can lift your foot a little higher, as long as it's not resting on the kneecap, while you balance on your block. It's so much harder to balance on a block than it is just doing this on the floor, because kind of like you're on a balance beam. See if maybe you can reach those arms over your head. Never taking your eyes off of your focal point. And make sure you're breathing. Take one more breath. going to take it to the left side this time. Stepping up on the block with our left foot, hands to heart. Slowly begin to lift the right foot. Maybe you place it a little bit higher. Finding your focal point. Make sure you're breathing. And maybe you reach the arms overhead. And knee comes forward and then lowers down. Bringing those blocks just to either side of you, because you're going to need them. Coming back to the front of our mat. Breathing in, arms overhead. Exhale, swan dive it down. Forward fold, right into your halfway lift. Breathing in, exhale, forward fold. Hands to the mat. Bringing the right leg behind, flattening that foot, and turning that foot, coming right into a warrior two. You might need to heel toe it open to widen your stance. We're going to breathe in, reach it front. Exhale, tip it back. Exalted warrior. Rolling those ribs open towards the sky. Looking up towards the sky. Take a breath. Coming back to warrior two. Getting your block ready. Placing it right on the inside of that left foot. You can either come right to your thigh, resting that forearm, or place your hand on that block. Reach that arm overhead, opening that chest. Take a breath. You can look down, or you can look up towards the sky. Slowly rising back up to your warrior two. Straightening on that front leg. Reaching front as far as you can. And tipping into our triangle. Utilizing the block in our triangle to open that chest. You can also place it behind you. Looking up to the sky. Or you can look down to the mat. Really working on twisting that chest open so that shoulders are stacked on top of each other. Take one more breath. And let's slowly bring both hands on the inside of that left foot. Revolve triangle. You can put your block on the inside or the outside, depending on where you are. And we're going to slowly begin to twist from our torso and open it up. Take a breath. One more breath. Slowly turning towards the front. Bending on the front knee, turning on the back foot, the ball of that foot. Coming into a low lunge. Bending that back knee just a tad. And I'm going to push off and come into a standing split. Hips are square to the front. Back foot is flexed. Place that block right in front of the foot so your hand can rest on it as you open to your half moon. Begin to open the chest to the right side. You might fall. If you do, try again. And as we turn, you can place your fingertips back on the mat. Place your right hand on the block this time, and let's see if we can twist over to the left. You can bring that hand to your hip, or open it up. Step it up. Walk those legs out. Shake them out. Forward fold. Slowly begin to rise up. Breathing in. Exhale, hands to heart. Arms overhead, breathe in. Exhale, swan dive it down. Halfway lift. Forward fold. Hands to the mat. This time, left foot comes back. Flatten and lower on that back foot. Keeping the blocks close to your side because you're going to need them. We're going to slowly begin to rise. Cartwheel it open to your warrior two. Reach front. Breathing in. Exhale into your exalted warrior. Rolling that ribcage open to the sky. Take a breath. Coming back to your warrior two. You have the option to place your forearm on your thigh or bring that block on the inside of that right foot. And we're going to open it up, opening that chest, stacking the shoulders. Take a breath. One more breath. We're going to slowly begin to rise back up to warrior two. Straighten on that front leg. Reach forward as far as you can go. And then slowly begin to tip into your triangle. You could use your block in the front or behind. Opening that chest, stacking those shoulders. Take a deep breath. One more deep breath. I'm slowly going to turn and bring my left hand on the inside of that foot. We're going to come into revolved triangle, so you can have your block on the inside or the outside, depending on your practice. And we're going to open up, twisting from that torso. Take a breath. One more breath. Coming back. Bending on that front knee, turning to the ball of that back foot. Keep that block nearby. Hands frame that foot. I'm going to bend slightly on the back foot. And as I do that, I'm going to push off, coming into a standing split. Squaring those hips. I'm going to bring my hand to my block. Really spread out those toes. And open up into your half moon. You might wobble. That's okay. It's building muscle. Open up the torso to the left. And coming back. Let's see if we can do reverse. See if you can open it up. Or maybe place that hand on the small of your back. Breathing. And slowly step it down. Walk those legs out. Slowly begin to rise. Deep breath in. Exhale. Hands to heart. Breathing in, arms overhead. Exhale, dive it down. Halfway lift. And forward fold. Hands come to the mat. Step it back. Last time to do a chaturanga. If you want to do it how we did it before, place your knees down. Place your blocks about a little further than 6 inches apart, so that there's enough room for your shoulders to rest on each. Placing your hands in front of both blocks, widen those fingers. Come into your plank. Pushing back with the heels, we're going to breathe in. Come forward on the tippies. Exhale, elbows in at your side, resting the shoulders. But you don't want to let all of your weight come to your shoulders. You want to use your arms to take the weight off the shoulders. Building the muscle, building the core. Take one more breath. Drop your knees down. And let's swing those legs around. Blocks come to the side because we're going to need those. And let's slowly begin to lower down, one vertebra at a time. Bring that block in between the thighs. Feet come as close to the glutes as possible. Hands down by your side. We're going to do some core work. We're going to do some bridge lifts. So we're going to breathe in. Exhale, lift, and lower. But don't lower all the way down. Keep it suspended. Lift and lower. Lift, lower. Keep going. Breathing on your own. Lower down one vertebrae at a time. Nice flat spine on that mat. Bring the block in between your shins. Arms overhead, keep them there. We're going to take a deep breath in. Exhale, lower, halfway down, and lift. Lower, and lift. Lower, lift, lower, lift. Make sure you're breathing. And hug everything in. Coming back up. Find your sweet spot. So it's like between your butt bone and your tailbone, there's like a little crevice, at least on my body. I don't know if that's for everyone, but maybe. Use one block to lean back on. And we're going to bring the tippy toes to the mat. Grab your block. And we're going to breathe in. Exhale. Make a big rainbow. While you breathe. Keeping that neck nice and open. Don't give up. All right, let's lay back. Good morning stretch. Never fails, I always yawn in the good morning stretch. If you want to play with a couple more things before I let you go. So, we're going to turn to one side and come up to a seat, or, again, you can rock and roll. Bringing nose towards your knees and gain some momentum. Crow pose. There's a couple variations. Crow pose is one of the hardest poses I've encountered since starting yoga. It's the one pose that I cannot master. And I've even done inversions and, you know, all kinds of things, and this is one that I find very difficult. So, if you're just starting out, I suggest bringing your blocks to where you can bring your hands to the front of your mat. You can step up on the blocks, bringing belly to your thighs, and then widen those fingers. Rest your knees on your forearms and just come forward, long neck looking ahead of you, and breathe. You can lift one toe, then the other, just to see like, you know, if you can do it. Or you can keep both feet on the blocks. That's a modification. If you're a little bit more advanced, then you bring one block to the front of your mat. Bring your belly towards your thighs, bringing those knees in towards your armpits. Widen those fingers. And, see, sometimes your knees will fall off. Rest your head. Once your head is resting, lift one foot, point the toe, then the other, point the toe, and breathe. Really utilizing that core. Bring both feet down, then your knees to come out of it. So those are two variations that almost anybody can do. If you're doing most of these other poses, at least that first modification of the crow pose should be fine. Last thing we're going to work on is splits. So bring both blocks to the front. We're going to bring our left foot in between so that your ankle lines up with the blocks. Slowly inch back on that right knee just a tad so that you can sink into that left hip and really open up through those hip flexors. So you can kind of like rotate a little bit as you're in, just a very small rotation, just to warm up those hip flexors. Take a few breaths. And now we're going to come back to our runner's lunge. This is where you might need to slide back on those blocks because I do want to keep you lifted in runner's position. So I don't want you sitting back, I want you up, and then you can hinge from the hips coming over that leg. Make sure that foot is flexed. Take a breath. Coming back through, you can bring those blocks back up, sinking into that hip. Again, you can do a small sway. I'm kind of pulling back with that left hip, and then I'm bringing it over to the right. So it's just a little sway, just to open up those hip flexors. One more breath. And back to your runner's lunge. Slide the blocks back beneath. Take a breath. And coming into neutral position, I'm going to move one block to the side, and I'm going to place the other one in the middle of my mat. I'm going to inch back on my back leg and flatten that foot. And then I'm going to slide forward. You want the block to come right underneath you so you can rest on it and open up. You might need to put your block vertically, like so, if you're not as flexible. I mean, I'm not even flexible. I'm not saying as flexible as me because I'm not flexible at all. So, I mean, I'm sure compared to some I'm flexible, but I'm really not flexible for somebody who's been doing yoga for almost 2 years and 3 months. So take one more breath. And we're gonna bring both hands over to the right side. I'm gonna lift up and I'm gonna bring that back shin in. And then I'm gonna bring my knee in. And then I'm gonna bring the toes and then the knee. So it's easier for me to bring both legs together. Let's take it to the other side. Bring both blocks to the front. Right foot steps in between, right in line. And I'm gonna inch back a little bit on that back foot, back leg, opening up through that hip flexor. Sinking into that front hip. I'm just gonna kind of rotate my hips a bit just to open up through the flexors. Just a little rotation, it's nothing crazy. Just a small movement, just warming it up. Take one more breath. And come back to your runner's lunge. You might need to slide those blocks back. Staying up nice and high. Hinging from the hips. Nice straight spine. Foot is flexed. Take a breath. Coming back up. I'm going to adjust my blocks. And I'm going to just sway it out a little bit. Breathe, 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 breathe. And come back to your runner's lunge. Take one more breath. And come forward neutral. And let's bring that block sliding forward. Take a couple breaths. Both hands come over to the left. I'm going to bring in that lower part of that leg, then the knee, then the toes, then the knee. And that way I can bring both knees together. Now, to finish off in our corpse pose, I'll leave it up to you. Oh, hold on, I'll be right back. Sorry about that, somebody knocked on my door. So, I was just almost done too. As I was saying, I'll leave it up to you. If you want to finish out your corpse pose, how we started, resting our head on the vertical block and our back on the horizontal block. You can do so, or just regular corpse pose is fine. You can also use the block under your sacrum like we do, with feet flat on the mat. That's very comfortable. So I'm going to end how we started and lay back. You always have to adjust here because you just never know what the height difference is. You can also do crisscross applesauce if butterfly pose is not comfortable for you. Go ahead and sink into the mat. Just melt deeply, letting everything go, releasing tension anywhere you're holding on to it. Close your eyes. And I want you just to breathe for a few moments on your own, slow and steady, drowning out any noises around you. Deep breath in and exhale. Continue breathing on your own. Blocks, I Everyone just wiggle your toes and your fingers. If you are up on your blocks, we're going to use our forearms to slowly lift us up into a seated position. If you're just in a regular corpse pose, go ahead and turn onto your side in fetal position and then make your way up. I'm going to end sitting up on my block like I always do. You can even do two if you so prefer. That really opens up your hips. Just adjust your booty. And sitting up nice and tall. You can do a mudra, hands in your lap, however, whatever's comfortable. Close your eyes. We're going to take 2 ohms. So let's take a deep breath in. One more deep breath in. Bring your hands to your heart. Smile. Big smile. Gently open your eyes. Thank you guys so much for practicing with me today. It's kind of hard to flow with the blocks, I felt. So I do like utilizing them in certain poses, but I'm gonna have to get better at doing a whole sequence with blocks because it's very, very choppy, I felt. I mean, it was good. It was a good workout, and I liked really using the blocks because it really opened up certain parts of my body. But yeah, we'll have to practice the flow part of that, right? Anyways, thank you guys so much for joining me today. I hope to see you back tomorrow for a new practice. Have a great rest of your day. Namaste. Bye.